Hi, it's Maggie the Irish Gypsy here to bring you your May 2019 general readings. We are looking at the first half of May from the 1st through the 15th. Welcome to everyone here. Welcome for the first time to any newcomers, and welcome back to any followers and subscribers. Thanks so much for all your comments, support, and feedback. And always a note of gratitude to all of my clients out there, both regular and new, for keeping me so busy with personal one-on-one readings. Always a pleasure, and it is much appreciated. If any of you are interested in a personal one-on-one reading with me, live or recorded, you can get more info and contact details by clicking on the description link below. You can also click on the About button on my YouTube channel's homepage. Email me directly at maggie1maguire@gmail.com. I'd be delighted to work with you. I can usually respond to your initial inquiry with more info within the same day or the first 24 hours. And scheduling is pretty good too. I do readings full-time 6 days a week. It is all that I do, so I'm pretty diligent at working with both your schedule and mine to get you readings as quickly as possible. And I do a wide variety of readings in all areas of life. So email me if you're interested, and we will set something up for you. Okay, let's get right into this. This reading is for the air sign of Aquarius, our lovely Aquarians, for the first half of May 2019 from the 1st to the 15th. As many of you know, general readings always resonate a little differently for everybody watching. There's many of you watching. Everyone has different things going on in their lives. If you know your rising sign, your moon sign, Venus sign, watch those as well for additional clarification. Okay, Aquarius, first half of May. We begin with the Ten of Swords, followed by Strength. We have Death, followed by the Four of Swords. And from the bottom of the deck, overall energy for the first half of May is the Nine of Swords, a card I never really like to see because the Nine of Swords represents being in your head to an obsessive negative amount. Swords is governed by the element of air, and in the tarot this is mental, cerebral, intellectual energy, what goes on up in here. Our belief systems, our ideologies, how we look at things, how we perceive things, because that affects the way that we communicate our words and our ideas to the world, to people in the world, and how we see the world and people in the world. It's all about what goes on up in here and how we communicate that. So it can also be about truth, illumination, clarity, higher education, everything that goes on in our heads. The Nine of Swords is a lot of stress, anxiety, worry, and fear, and it usually shows up when someone is in fear of the future, which hasn't actually played out yet. You're imagining, you know, what am I going to do if this happens? What am I going to do if that doesn't happen? Thinking about it. Maybe suffering from sleep because you're thinking about it, and it's always the worst possible outcome. Now, everything on a tarot card is symbolic. I mean, you could spend hours and hours just talking about one tarot card, everything. The people, the animals, the colors, the shapes, the designs, the weather, the environment, everything. You can see that there's a little owl on the windowsill here. Now, owls are one of those universal symbols for truth, enlightenment, a solution. Remember in the Winnie the Pooh stories, whenever they had a question they couldn't answer, they went to wise old Mr. Owl, and he always had the answer. Even if he didn't have the answer, he pretended like he had the answer. So owls are one of those universal symbols of wisdom, of insight, solution, logic, clarity. This woman is sitting so close to this owl she could just about reach out and touch it, but she's not even looking at it because she's completely focused, hunched over, focused on whatever these swords, perhaps a variety of thoughts, represent. The worst possible outcome for a future which has not even unfolded yet. You can, I mean, why do we watch these readings? Forewarned is forearmed. You can lessen a great deal of this energy, Aquarius. Now, the source of whatever the concern or fear or grief or whatever is might be quite valid, but this is a card about building it up to be much worse and horrible in your head than is actually reflected in the reality of the situation. Not that it's not challenging or painful or difficult, but that this is a card of making it bigger than it actually needs to be, or worse than it actually is in the reality of it. So FYI, we can lessen this. especially since I'm doing these readings at the very end of April. This is for the first half of May, so you can start working on this right away and find ways to actually deal with those fearful thoughts when they come up. With analysis and logic is a great, and action too is a great way. Get up and do something. Sort out your utensils drawers or something like that. Action can really help take our mind off things and be a distraction sometimes, and give yourself logical thoughts too. Yes, what am I going to do if this happens? Well, it hasn't happened yet. We plan as best as we can, but the rest of it we have to leave up to divine timing and orchestration. So what's this all about? We have the Ten of Swords and strength. Perhaps a betrayal, a feeling of feeling stabbed in the back, but tens represent cycles ending too, the circle coming back around again, fulfillment, culmination, the ending of something. Sometimes it means that ending is something that you lose or you leave from or you break away from, and sometimes the 10 can represent something coming full circle in a really positive way. The positive aspect of the 10 of Swords is that even though whatever put this man or woman face down on the ground looks very difficult, challenging, painful, it's done. It's over. The worst has already happened. It's not going to happen again. There's a golden healing light shining through these swords. You can see the sun rising in the background. A new day is dawning and the animals are beginning to return to the scene. All good signs after some kind of calamity or painful episode. So it's at an end. Now it's clarified by strength, which is a card about facing your fears, your doubts, your insecurities, self-mastery, and self-control, which requires really knowing yourself well, taking a look at yourself, your fears, your doubts, your insecurities, perhaps bad habits or patterns that we have. Being brave enough and strong enough and humble enough to look at those, to deal with what we can, to accept ourselves and move forward courageously. That's what this opportunity, as challenging as it may be, is providing you the opportunity to do. It takes strength, humility, insight, and wisdom to do this, but it's also what you gain more of by going through it and being on the other side. Now we have Death and the Four of Swords, which makes perfect sense. And Death is sitting right next to the Ten of Swords. Death is also a major arcana card about major endings, the ground being cleared out, completely cleared out and transformed in preparation of something new, something whole. And it's sitting right next to the Ten of Swords. So there's definitely an ending and a transformation happening, even though, you know, it looks like you're scared to death. You're worried about what's going to happen, which you can't really control. Anyway, you can only do what you're in charge of, and worrying about the rest of it does absolutely nothing. So there's definitely an ending. The Four of Swords can sometimes show up when you really need to take a rest. You need to take better care of yourself. Withdrawing temporarily. I say temporarily because this man is still girded in most of his armor. He's taken his helmet off, his hand gauntlets off. The three swords pointing down at him represent whatever the situation is. His own sword, his mode of protection, defense, is lying close by his hand should he need it. But for the time being, he has temporarily withdrawn to rest, recover, recuperate, maybe seek out some advice, guidance, get a different perspective. Maybe feeling tired and worn out, needing to take better care of yourself. You do have the Insomnia card, and this is a card of needing to get more rest. So you really need to kind of focus on doing that, taking care of yourself, eating right, sleeping right to the best of your ability. If we know that there's going to be a challenge in the first half of May with your thoughts kind of chasing themselves like a dog chases its tail, then know this ahead of time and get some tools in order. What am I going to do when these thoughts come up? You know, find something physical to do, maybe something that doesn't require a great deal of brain power, but something that can be repetitive, soothing, and distracting. You know, figure out some message to give yourself. Well, what if this happens and I don't know what's going to happen in the future? No, you don't. And if you can't, if there's no way to control it, then you need to dump some of that excess worry and give yourself, when the fears start talking, answer them with logic. And take care of yourself. And maybe reach out, because this is a theme I've been getting in with some of the signs for the first half of May. Reach out to the people around you that care, friends, family, your tribe, your community. That may be helpful too. This looks like a little bit more of a challenging one, and sometimes readings do. They're not always, as I heard one reader say, they're not always all Skittles and rainbows. Definitely, I mean, that's life. We all go through these opportunities for change, which are usually presented in the form of some kind of challenge or struggle. so that we can learn and grow and evolve, which is why we're here, towards our ultimate joy and fulfillment. Let's get a couple more guidance message cards from Spirit for Aquarius for the first half of May. Six of Cups and the Six of Swords. Some of you may need to actually physically get away for a while. Sometimes six can be a card of travel. The Six of Cups can be a card of travel. The Six of Swords can be a card of travel. It's a card of peace, healing, restoration, moving from whatever happened. This, Ten of Swords energy. Moving away from that. The worst is behind you. These choppy waters are behind you. And in front of you, you're sailing into waters which are placid, more peaceful, serene. It's healing. And healing, especially in its initial phases, has up days and down days. But over time, the healing process gets better and better. It's transitional energy too, meaning the worst is behind you. You're not quite to the other shore and on solid ground yet, but you're definitely moving through that healing. And it might even be physical travel. Maybe you need to go away, go visit some people, get away for a little while if you can. And it's accompanied by the Six of Cups, which is a card of the past, history, nostalgia, roots of origin, parents, relatives, old friends, childhood friends, schoolmates. Maybe some of you need to travel and get away, or maybe you should go visit where you came from, or some old friends or family or relatives or something of that sort. It's a card of, childhood, where we had less cares and concerns and worries than we had today. It also can be a card of taking some time out to do things that make you feel good. Maybe that, more lighthearted, childlike energy, getting out more in nature is always a helpful healing thing. Maybe not things that provide solutions, but that make us feel better while we're going through the healing process. Go to the beach, walk in some sand or some grass if weather permits. Go back and spend time with people that you've known for a while, that you have history with, friends, family, your tribe, roots of origin. You're going to find a great deal of comfort and healing in that as well, Aquarius. So Aquarius, that pretty much wraps up your reading for the first half of May 2019. I hope that you found it helpful. Again, particularly if any of this resonated for you, those of you that are interested in a more personal one-on-one reading with me, you can click on the description link below. Feel free to email me directly at maggie1mcguire@gmail.com. I'd be most happy to work with you. I do love and romance, compatibility charting, career work and finance, investment readings, 6 and 12-month overviews, which take a look at what's coming in all the main areas of your life over a 6 or 12-month period, depending on how far ahead you want to look. I offer gift readings as well. And you can also find me on the smartphone app Instantgo under Irish Gypsy, and that link is also provided. So a few things to choose from. I will see you all again in a couple of weeks, Aquarius, for the May 2019 mid-month readings, where we'll take a look at the second half of the month. And until then, as always, I wish you joy, peace, blessings, and a happy life. Take care, and I hope to see you back here again soon. Bye-bye.